We are a self-policing profession, and lawyers are supposed to police each other, and sometimes we don't do a good enough job, and obviously that job was done extremely well by Creighton Wooders and Alan Wilson and his staff. The federal government did their job, but I think today you saw a very robust presentation by the state and by the victims. And I'm not sitting here gloating that that Corey got 20 years, and there has to be, we have to figure out how much time he serves federally, then move over to the state, and that'll all be calculated by those that probably have a better understanding than I do on that. But today justice was done, and justice always isn't pretty, it always isn't kind, but justice was done, and we have a system that worked. And I feel like that my clients, even though they have forgiven Corey Fleming and they've forgiven Alex, believe it or not, they haven't forgotten, and I will not forget. And I think it's a good day. I think we have shown that the rule of law touches everybody equally, and in this case, I think Judge Newman, when he pronounced his sentence, showed how powerful the rule of law is. So, with that said, I'll turn it over to Justin Bamberg.
Just what Eric said. Miss Pinckney wanted to be here. As I said in court, she's still struggling with pain. It's lasted a decade, and she wasn't able to make it. This is not a celebratory day. This is reality, and the reality is that if you are a lawyer in the state of South Carolina, if you never knew before, you know now, do not steal your client's money. Do not assist another lawyer in stealing your client's money. The trust, the betrayal of trust, that is what got him 20 years. It's not failing a duty. It's bigger than that. And there are a lot of heartbroken people. Sitting in that courtroom, you can feel how you feel about Corey Fleming or anybody. Obviously Miss Pinckney, the Satterfields, they've forgiven him. Miss Pinckney says, I still got love for you, Corey, but what you did was wrong. But to see a grown man's mother and father, wife, family, friends, other people that loved and cared about him, whether it's Corey or any criminal defendant who broke the law, it's tough. If you are a compassionate, caring person, it's hard to watch them suffer. And they suffered because Corey made them suffer. A lot of avoidable headache, heartache, tragedy, and it's just another step on the road. I'm sure we'll be back. I'm sure there'll be a post-conviction relief filed or an appeal of the sentence. But at the end of the day, this place, this building, every county, maybe not as nice a building as this, you come down to Bamberg, but every county has a courthouse, and that is a sacred place. It's not a place to deceive judges. It's not a place to lie on paperwork so you can steal people's money. I'm not happy to be here. I'm really not, man. I take my job seriously. I take this profession seriously. And there is nothing exciting. There is no joy that I get or Eric gets or any attorney gets from having to be here because someone who used to be a part of our profession did not just one thing, can't pay my mortgage, let me take. It wasn't one thing, it's 10 years, over a decade, man. It's sad. And I hope that we as a state can move on past this. We still got to finish dealing with Alec. We got to finish dealing with Russell Lafitte.
Sure.
But I hope that we never, ever, ever find ourselves, not in my lifetime or my niece's lifetime, that we ever find ourselves here again, Eric, dealing with a lawyer doing the things that Corey and Alec have done.
No question about it. I think we have a great debt of gratitude to Alan Wilson, Creighton Wooders, and the staff of the Attorney General of South Carolina. What you have seen is the state is not going to bow to the federal government. The state brings their own charges, and the state saw these charges through fruition. And it's very rare where you see the state stand tall, stand strong, like it did today, notwithstanding what Judge Gergel did. You heard Judge Gergel said that it was his hope that the 46 months that he gave Corey would be listened to by Judge Newman, and that was enough time. And he was basically telling Judge Newman, I want you to follow my lead. And you heard Judge Newman say, I didn't even read Judge Gergel's transcript. This is my courtroom. This is my courthouse. These are state charges. I am a sovereign state judge, not a federal judge. And I think it really is clear to a lot of lawyers who are trying to navigate, well, what should we do with the feds? What should we do with the state in these whole Murdaugh cases? I think what you saw is the resolve of the state. We don't care what the federal government's going to do. They'll do what they're going to do, or they'll do it strong, or they'll do it light. But we are going to see these charges all the way through. And I think you saw a robust presentation by Creighton this morning in saying, I'm ready to try these cases. Let's do it. Let's tee them up. Let's start in November for Alex on the financial crime cases. I think we'll find out about what's going to happen with Russell Lafitte, and then, we'll deal with the juror situation as filed by Dick Harpootlian. But we're going to keep going as a state, and I am very proud of our government, really, really proud of our Attorney General's department.
And let me just add this, so that there is no question, okay? Seeing a former member of the South Carolina Bar get sentenced to 20 years for theft over the course of a decade is not indicative of our bar. And I don't care whether you're a plaintiff's lawyer, defense lawyer, whether you're a prosecutor like Attorney Waters and his team, or whether you do defense work. That's not indicative of our bar. It's not indicative of attorneys in the state of South Carolina. Every lawyer is different. Every lawyer has a different way of moving or handling cases. But this is not reflective of us.
No, I've sued.
It's not.
I've sued over 200 law firms and lawyers with my partner Ronnie Richter over the last 30 years. And like I said today, we have never seen anything like this. Sometimes it's a little bit of nibbling into the cookie jar, but never have we ever seen somebody take the entirety of settlements for people at their worst and most vulnerable time, like Mrs. P was, and 7 years later dip again into her money that should have been hers. So is it a 1 or 2 off? I certainly hope so. And I think this was a clarion bell in this courthouse. And that's what we want, so that every lawyer that goes to the coffee or the water station tomorrow morning says to their co-associate, hey, did you hear what happened in Beaufort, South Carolina? Man, Judge Newman loaded up a dirty lawyer.
Yep.
And so that's all we can ask for.
Thank you.